Welcome to the Put On Waivers Media Group, home of the Put On Raiders podcast and the Student Body Right podcast. This is your place for the best breakdowns and the best insight for those who fight on and bleed silver and black. Now, here are your hosts, Dwayne Douglas and Ryan Holmes.
All right, Raider fans, here we go. All 22 from the Steelers. Nice little gun run here. Trubisky started this game, but that's Najee Harris going to the outside. Good job by the offensive line. They need plays like that to set up their passing game. So you see right here, they get in the same formation, and he fakes to Harris this time and gets the ball out quickly to Fairmouth. So they're trying to set things up for their young quarterback, who's going to be Kenny Pick, who's going to be starting in this game. So we'll see a lot of that. Some window dressing here as far as going in motion behind this run here. And Najee Harris, good job of, again, testing that side there and making sure he gets a good run to keep them on schedule. Again, another fake, throwing the ball to the outside quickly to get things moving in the right direction for their offense. This is the opening drive against the Panthers last week. Again, just want to take another look at that that gun run here. Another one here. Good job of sealing that outside and getting Najee Harris on the edge. The Raiders going to have to set the edge in this game. Speaking of setting the edge, let's take a look here. Heavy personnel. Jeremy Chin is in great position, but he's playing flag football there. I mean, you got to be able to get to the outside, force Najee Harris to the inside, make a play there. Jeremy Chin's a good player. Usually he makes those plays, but he didn't make it then. Take another look at it. Here, again, has that outside leverage, can't hold it. If he does hold it, it's probably just, a 2-yard gain instead of a touchdown. Look at this inside pressure here. They're going, about, what they have on the edge with Watt, but they can get inside pressure. But where they do struggle, the Pittsburgh Steelers is down the field in the secondary. So when the Raiders have the wind at their back, 3rd and long here for Sam Darnold, they pick up everything. And great job of the offensive line. Then he throws a dime down the field, a Darnold dime, if you will. I don't know if that exists, but hey. Welcome back. Kind of got a chance to kind of see behind the steel curtain, if you will, looking at the Steelers offense, seeing what they do this week. From what I saw on NFL.com, that Pickett was going to be Kenny Pickett's going to be the starter this week. So we'll see what happens there. I know the game I looked at was Trubisky against the Panthers. So should be interesting. I think there's going to be a lot of running the football in this game. I mean, it just is. The weather is going to be, or is the weather's going to allow for that. So it's going to be really cold, really windy, all those things like that. Possibility of rain. So the center and quarterback exchange as well is going to be really important to make sure that's down. The emotion of the game, and this is what I want to talk to you about too. I want to look at and think about this game. The emotion of it's late in the season. It's Raiders Steelers. You also have the emotion of this is the anniversary of the Immaculate Reception. Then the passing of the great Franco Harris. Like, it's going to be a pretty charged up Heinz Field. I don't think it's Heinz Field anymore, but whatever. But they're going to be the Steel fans. The Terrible Towel is going to be out in flurry. Like, do you feel like that's something that is? I mean, not like a Mike Tomlin team needs any more, emotion to get ready for a game. But do you think that plays against them or for them in this ballgame?
Yeah, I think the Raiders are going to have to withstand the first quarter of this game because I think the crowd's going to be into it. They're retiring Franco Harris's number, I'm pretty sure, at halftime. There's probably going to be a big on-field moment of silence before the game. They're going to talk about it in that Steelers locker room. It's Steelers Raiders. Like, they're going to come out. They're going to get the best punch from the Steelers in the first quarter. So the Raiders have to keep this thing close. They can't fall behind by 2 scores. Mm-hmm. It can't be 10-0 or 14-0 after the first quarter, especially with the weather conditions. I know you mentioned, I'm looking at it right now, high's 11. It's supposed to be 11 degrees at kickoff with 16 to 20 mile an hour winds. The feels like it's going to be -4 with 20 mile an hour winds, 11 degrees, but feels like -4. So wind's going to be an issue, especially kicking field goals to the open end has always been an issue at Heinz Field or whatever Pittsburgh wants to call it now. Now you throw in 20 mile an hour winds.
Yep.
So they're gonna have to play this game smartly. If the wind's going to be behind their back at any point, not working across the field, hopefully it's when they're going to the closed end of the stadium. You kick your longer field goals at that point. But no, this is a really good defense they're going up against. The front seven for the Pittsburgh Steelers is tough. They're 7th in the league against the run. They have 4 really good linebackers in Highsmith, Watt, Bush, and Miles Jack is over there. You have Cam Hayward. You have Montravius Adams, the big body inside, and Larry Ogunjobi is a good player too. So the Raiders are going to have to run the ball. And the good thing is the Raiders are built for this kind of game offensively with what they've been doing this year. So you're going to see, I think, 6 offensive linemen pretty frequently. I'd be shocked if you didn't. You're going to see 13 personnel. You're going to see 22 personnel. You're going to see 21 personnel. I don't think the Raiders can go in 11 personnel and throw the ball around. I don't think we're going to see much Hunter Renfrow in this game. If they can't throw the ball because of the conditions, if it's cold and windy, Renfrow's going to be sitting over there on the sidelines, and we might just be fielding a couple of punts because you're not going to take Mac Hollins off the field if you need him to run block. So I think this is going to be an old school smash mouth, low scoring game.
Yeah, I think you got to take advantage of every opportunity. I mean, the holders and everything like that. I mean, all those little things, special teams, whether it's missing tackles, stuff like that, special teams, and also that exchange between the quarterback center, and then you have the holder with those field goals. That's going to be really big for both teams as well. So should be interesting to see what happens there as far as that goes. Kenny Pickett, I think this is something where, at least Mac Jones didn't really play that well against the Raiders. I would like to see that continue. It's bad. They face some good quarterbacks, and a lot of times the Raiders will make average quarterbacks become superstars. I mean, the guy has not had a really good season in any way whatsoever. So just make his life more difficult by just stuffing that run. I mean, you have to be. I know they have receivers who have a lot of ability, but Pickett has not been a guy who's got them the football consistently, right?
Yeah, and I don't think he will this week either. I really think the wind is going to be an issue here. I think the player in the Raiders locker room that's licking his chops now is Denzel Perryman, because this is a Denzel Perryman special.
It is. Yeah.
He might get 20 tackles in this game. Whichever team stops the run is going to win this game. And I think the other thing you have to look for is George Pickens, the big rookie wide receiver out of Georgia, who's a good deep threat. If they throw some go balls in this game, the cornerbacks can't panic and get pass interferences. Because I think you might see 1 or 2 deep balls in this game where pass interference is going to allow a team to pick up 40 or 50 yards. Because let's be honest, it's going to be a 3 yards on a cloud of dust game. The Raiders hopefully get Billings back, who's another run stuffer.
Yeah.
If they get Billings back, they should be able to hold up here. You're going to see a lot of odd fronts, a lot of 5-man fronts. So you're going to see those 3 big boys inside with Crosby and Jones. So you're going to have 5 guys across the line with Denzel Perryman and Masterson back there. And then you're going to drop Teamer down or Merrick down as a safety and put 8 in the box. So hopefully that's what they do. If they come out and they're playing too high and they got 6 or 7 in the box, I'm going to be really mad. They should have 8 in the box. And if Kenny Pickett wants to throw the ball down the field in these conditions to beat you, and he does, tip your cap to him. You can't let Najee Harris win this game.
Yeah, you can't, and you also can't. I mean, like you said, I mean, I can imagine with the wind, those deep shots are going to come. I mean, they're definitely going to come. So as far as that goes, and they have not been. If you can, and when the Raiders do have the wind at their back, opportunity to throw the football. This is if you can gear it up, and even if you got to max protect, I mean, to a certain extent, I mean, this secondary has not been good. They're on the back half there. But the way to beat the Steelers, they gave up the most passing yards in football, second most in the National Football League this year. So that's an opportunity for the Raiders when they do have the ball and passing to kind of take advantage of that, right?
Yeah, Carr just needs to figure out where number 39 is on the Steelers, Fitzpatrick, and throw it to wherever he's not, because the other 4 guys in that secondary are not very good. Yeah. They're not difference makers. The Raiders can win a bunch of one-on-one matchups, whether that's Waller, whether that's Renfrow, if he's out there, if they can throw the ball, and Adams. Like, they don't have anyone that can lock those guys up. So it's going to come down to the weather conditions. I think if it gets nasty and it gets into like who's going to pound the ball, like I know a lot of defensive fans are going to like this game because it's going to be Josh Jacobs versus Najee Harris, and like who's going to stick their face in there the most, and who's going to break some tackles and make some plays. The Raiders are going to have to tackle this week, whether that's the running back, the big physical Harris, or if it's a tight end. Like, don't forget about Freiermuth. He's a pretty good tight end over there in Pittsburgh. But and then they're going to have to make field goals. Special teams is going to be key. Like, maybe they can block another punt. Hopefully that the punt coverage or the punt block team for the Steelers takes a nap on the field like the Patriots did, where they just were talking to each other and didn't even realize the ball was snapped. But I think the Raiders
is that what happened on film?
Yeah, like I posted it too. Like the two up backs, Peppers and 21 Phillips, they're talking to each other, pointing at the scoreboard, and then the ball snapped and Malcolm Kuntz runs right by him. Like, they weren't even looking. Like they didn't know the ball was snapped.
That's
how
hilarious.
They blocked the punt. So props to Malcolm Kuntz for rushing as hard as he did to get there, but no one blocked him.
Yeah, and Kuhn's not taking the play off, and plus that's un-Belichick like for a team to do that. I guess that's funny. So, I'm sure that was on film this week out in New England. Interesting.
I think this is going to come down to who's going to convert third and shorts, who's going to convert fourth downs. You're going to see teams going for it, and if you get an opportunity to kick a field goal in the 35 to 45 range, you got to make it. Like, I don't think teams are going to. We're not going to see Daniel Carlson run out there for a 55-yarder in these conditions. I just don't think. I think you play the field position game at that point.
Yeah,
AJ Cole's only had one touchback all year, so don't turn the ball over, and they have to stop the run, and that will basically be who wins this game.
The team and people love TV loves this image of just like what they had last week when you have a Miami going to Buffalo, and now you have the Raiders, Las Vegas, warm weather, sunshine to go dome team going outside to face the elements here. So as always makes for good TV. As far as that goes, we talked about the game plan and what they should do and everything like that. I'm just wondering, excuse me, if you're, both. I mean, Kenny Pickett wears gloves if it's 95 degrees outside. Carr usually wears the one on his left hand when he's playing. How important is it, for both of these quarterbacks to be able to, when they get sacked? Because I think when you're playing against Max Crosby and JJ Watt, it's not, if you get sacked, you probably will get sacked in the game. Just holding on to the football, because those turnovers, those strip sacks are going to be, they're going for those like crazy in this game.
Yeah, the other thing we haven't talked about in this game is penalties. So both these teams want to run the ball. If they can't run the ball and you get, let's say the Raiders get a penalty and it's 2nd and 18, like, they're not going to drop back and try to throw the ball down the field. It's going to be, people are going to be bitching about the play calling because they're going to probably throw a screen or hand it off and try to avoid as many plays where Carr has to drop back against this defense and try to work the ball down the field, mainly due to the elements. I don't think it's so much they don't trust the offensive line, but I think you don't want to put either one of these quarterbacks in a bad situation this weekend. This might be the battle of the two quarterbacks with the smallest hands in NFL history on the field together at the same time. Yeah. So both of these guys are probably going to be a little fumble prone if they get hit. So they have to protect the ball. If you guys thought Josh McDaniels was conservative coming into this game, like, this is the perfect game for him to be even more conservative. You have a rookie quarterback on the other side. You're going to have cold weather. You're going to have wind. Josh McDaniels is preaching, do not turn the ball over right now. And those penalties, you're not playing in a dome. You can't drop back on 2nd and 15 and throw the ball 20, 25 yards down the field. Those opportunities won't be there this week.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a game where I'm one of the people who do bitch about the conservativeness. But this week is not one of them. I mean, obviously, you just want to just keep the game at hand. You have a game on Saturday. The Jets lost, so if you want to still dream, you can still dream. Your game is before the Sunday games, so you can, if you win that game, you can still keep going and telling your team, hey, we got a chance to maybe get into the playoffs. as far as that goes. But I mean, listen, I think do you feel like if it was 75 and sunny, the Steelers win this game or the Raiders win this
No,
game?
if it's 75 and sunny, I would take the Raiders
I'm
in
gonna
this
take the
game
Raiders, but
for sure.
so with the weather being the way it is, it definitely evens it out to make it to be a game that the Steelers could be the favorites to win this game.
Yeah, I do believe that Mother Nature and let's hope the wind isn't as bad as they're predicting because I don't think the cold is really an issue. It's the wind I'm
What's the
concerned
wind?
about. When you're talking -4 wind chill with 20-mile-an-hour winds in a
Oh
stadium that typically like kickers have problems anyways in that
yeah,
stadium when there's no
yeah,
wind.
no
I
question.
think that's the biggest issue. And you mentioned that the warm weather team, like the broadcast is going to talk about it ad nauseum. If the Raiders don't play
Yes,
well in this game, Raider fans get ready. You're going to hear about it. You're going to hear about Carr being 0-6 and cold
37
weather and all that. And
degrees.
now that's not all on him. The team hasn't played well in a lot of those games, but at the end of the day, his stats in those games is terrible.
Yeah,
And then you have to look at. I think I saw the number today. They average in those 6 cold weather games, like I think it's like 18 or 19 points a game. So it's not like the offense has gone out there in these games and put up 24, 27 and lost. Like the offense
yeah,
hasn't really done much in these games either.
yeah.
This is going to be a low scoring. Like I said, penalties and turnovers are going to determine this game.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we could say that a lot, but like in a game like this is definitely gonna be even more
And
so.
the
Yeah.
the other thing to add is like
Yeah.
I know as Raider fans we want to talk about playoffs. Like I got news for you. If the Raiders not this year, I'm saying even moving forward, if this is a playoff level team, you know what they're going to have to do if they don't win the division? They're going to have to play at Kansas City, at Buffalo, at Pittsburgh, at New England, at the Jets, at Cincinnati, whoever the playoff teams are with home games. The Raiders have to figure out how to win games in cold weather. They just have to do it.
Yeah.
If they can't do that, it doesn't matter who's on this roster because they're not going to go anywhere even when they do get to the playoffs.
Yeah, it's true because I remember when a team like I can kind of see when a team arrives, and when I say arrives is like when a team they have a coach and they go when a West Coast team. I remember when Jim Harbaugh had like a 2-game stretch, took the Niners cross country, and they beat another one East Coast team, and they went at Philly and beat the Eagles, and everybody was like, that's when when a West Coast team arrives, right? I mean, no matter where Rich Gannon played, it didn't matter in the regular season, whether it was cold, hot, whatever. The team was able to win that game. Let's see here. So I just want to take a quick look at not for the Raiders themselves, but just a quick look at the playoff picture in the AFC. So you got the 3 teams up top. You have the Bills, Chiefs, Cincinnati, and you mentioned, in the future, cold weather, right? I mean, that's what all those teams
Going
are.
through those 3 cities, whether people
Yeah,
want to say it or not, they have the 3 best quarterbacks.
and exactly, and then so you have that, and Baltimore gets Baltimore, another team, if they get their quarterback back, another cold weather team. So you have that. The Tennessee Titans, they could be pretty much. You mentioned them being done. That's a possibility. With them, I know they're 7-7, but they're just not. I mean, this is. I love that coach because I mean they have to me they had no right even being close with the Chargers last week, and they end up winning that game. It wasn't for a miracle throw down and with under a minute left. I don't think the Chargers even win that game, but they do. You got the Ravens at 9-5, and then you got the Chargers and the Dolphins. The Chargers own that tiebreaker, and then you go into the Patriots, and then the Jaguars are in a situation who they can win the division.
I think they do win the division, and you called it like week 3 or week 4.
I
If I remember
thought
correctly.
so. Or they were playing good, but I mean, they're good. They're a good team. I'll take those because some of mine have been pretty bad. So I'll definitely take the Jaguars as much as I can on that one. Who they play next week? I gotta see. Let me see the full schedule real quick.
Houston
So,
and Tennessee, last 2 games.
jeez, wow.
But the most Jaguars thing they can do is go lose
I
to Houston
know.
now when everything's in front of them.
I don't not Houston, but I can see maybe them losing with everything on the line, losing the last game to
Houston's played
Tennessee.
pretty well the last month. They haven't won any of those games, but they've been in it. They took the Chiefs to
Yeah,
overtime. They were in it with the Cowboys.
I'm not
They,
sure
they
what.
could beat the Jaguars.
I mean, now that they pretty much secured where they were their draft position, they're like, okay, let's start playing better. Let's win some games.
Do you know who Houston's only win is this year?
Houston's only win. Jets? I don't remember. No.
I think it's Jacksonville. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they beat Jacksonville.
Oh wow, that's bad. That's bad. What? Well, I mean, they did. I mean, everybody talks
It was
about
early in the season.
early season, but everybody talks about last year with when the Raiders had the one and done. You know, the one they win the winner go home game at the end of the season, but it was really the loss to the Houston Texans the week before that really kept the Chargers out of the playoffs. I mean, so
Yes, it was.
it was. Prediction time. Prediction time. What do you think? Who do you think is gonna give me a couple guys you think are gonna play well in this game, and also who do you think's gonna win?
Who's going to play well in this game? Well, I think T.J. Watt. I think Max
Max
Crosby.
Crosby.
I think those ends are going to eat if teams have to pass the ball. But I think Josh Jacobs has a big game because he's going to get the ball. Let's be honest. If he gets it less than 30 times, I'll be shocked. Unless Samir White somehow emerges and gets more than one carry.
Or Britton Brown gets a carry.
I was watching the Jaguars game and they actually gave their backup running back 2 carries in a row, and I didn't know that was legal in the NFL, but they did. I don't even know who the guy was, some rookie named Connor or something, but I'm like, what, 2 snaps in a row? Yeah. But no, this is going to be a game where the Raiders are just going to run the football and pound it and pound it. So I would expect Josh Jacobs. I would say Jacob Johnson. He won't be in the stats, but I think he's going to have a big game just clearing holes. I don't think this is a game where you're going to be excited about Devontae Adams' line or Derek Carr or Darren Waller or any of the specialty players. This is going to come down to the offensive line and the defensive line of these two teams. I do think the Raiders have been playing the run well. And I think I mentioned earlier, Denzel Perryman is going to have a really good game in my opinion. This is going to come down to, like we talked about, penalties, turnovers. If this was, like you said, 75 and sunny, it was in week 2, no elements, I'd taken the Raiders as a layup in this game. I don't see it working out that way. And part of me feeling that way is every time I pick the Raiders to lose, they win. So part of me is like reverse psychology. I'm going to pick them to lose this week on the show, and then they win. But I think this comes down to the fourth quarter and someone making a big play on special teams, some kicker making an absurd kick, maybe a muffed punt, something that, out of the ordinary, which just happens in pretty much every Raiders game we've watched our whole lives. But I think Pittsburgh finds a way because of that. That front seven is really good. And if the conditions aren't going to allow either team to throw the ball, if I'm wrong and the wind's not bad and the Raiders can drop back and throw it, I would take the Raiders. But from what I'm reading, it's going to be a ground and pound game. I like the Steelers front seven against the Raiders offensive line a little more than I like the Raiders front seven against the Steelers offensive line. So I'm going to say they went on a late field goal, 16-13. Low scoring, 13-13 late, and then one of these teams is going to make a play to win it. I think the emotion in the stadium with Franco Harris is passing, and it's the Raiders in town, and the Raiders Steelers is a big rivalry, even though they're not in the same division. Every time they play, the Raiders had the Steelers numbers for years, even when they were terrible. When Ben Roethlisberger, for some reason, they figured they knew how to beat Ben Roethlisberger.
Terrell Pryor could be.
Yeah, and then Chris Carr pick 6 that one year.
Yeah.
But I think it's 16-13 low scoring. I'll take the Steelers. I think the kicker will be more comfortable. He's kicked in that stadium. He knows how that stadium plays. Daniel Carlson I don't even know if they've played in Pittsburgh with maybe once since he's been with the Raiders.
Yeah. Oddly enough, it's weird, and I could be dead wrong, and I usually do not. I have not picked the Raiders to win a game in a minute, but I like the Raiders in this game. I think they win the game 17-14. I think you just find a way to. I think I could see them. I see with all the emotion and everything like that. I see the Raiders getting off to that usual first drive is a good long methodical 7-8 play drive score, and then kind of force this quarterback to play from behind. I think Najee Harris is the offense in this game. I mean, you can't let him catch it. You can't let him run the football. You can't let him get to the outside. I mean, that's going to be the biggest key. If the Raiders D tackles and Denzel Perryman and the linebacking core can keep him under wraps, I think they can win the game. And I just feel like the Raiders season is going to end in a big, I wish we should have won this game. I don't think it's this one, though. I think they will stay alive. I think the numbers will keep them alive for one more week, and they'll go into the San Francisco game And that's where I think that's where the season kind of gets blown up a little bit when they play San Francisco. But they do play back-to-back games, front sevens that are like, wow. Like you don't want to really play back-to-back Pittsburgh. You play Pittsburgh and then you play San Francisco. I mean, both of those teams have great great linebacking cores and really great pass rushers as well too. So big test for Colton Miller, big test for this offensive line. I think the Raiders find a way to win this one, and then they go home for the rivalry of rivalries. I mean, I told people that I would definitely not ever go to that game because I just don't want to. You think the Raider Karen, they calling her, was tough. I cannot imagine being in a stadium filled with Raider and Niner fans out there in Vegas. That would be pretty crazy.
Will add, I would be a little more confident if I knew for sure the health status
Billings
of Parham, Billings, and
Yeah.
Bars. They need those three guys this week.
Yeah.
If they have to, if Billings can't go and you're running out Meredith and Grasu against that front seven this week, I just don't see how the Raiders can move the ball enough to score enough in this game. But they all practice limitedly today, so hopefully by the time we get to Saturday they can play. The key is going to be, can they play the whole game, or is one or two of these guys going to break down in the second quarter? So we don't really know the health status. If I knew better. If I knew they were going to play the whole game, I might pick the Raiders to win this game. And like I said, hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully the Raiders do find a way to win again.
And I do wonder. Like I'm thinking in my head too. I'm thinking about this game today. The start of the day is if they just do a really good job against the run, are they ever going to put the ball in Pickett's hands in this game? I mean, you got Chandler Jones is playing. We saw Chandler Jones with the little fake out and go and went around Trent Brown. That was a nice move. He's coming on as the season goes on, and then you got Max Crosby. So I do wonder how conservative he's going to be in this game as well. And I mean, in this matchup, obviously you have to trust Carr more than you trust Pickett. And I just feel like this could be a game where they maybe get a couple turnovers and stuff like that. Sometimes the emotion of a game like this kind of works against you, especially when you're not that good. If this was vintage Steelers, I would feel more comfortable just saying, "Boom, Steelers win." But I'm gonna give the silver and black one last ride because I don't think I'm picking them for the rest of the season. But I get one last ride in this year, man.
You can't give away your picks 2 weeks early.
I know 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks. Well, who knows? Yeah, who knows? Maybe. I mean, if they win this game impressively, maybe I think they'll beat the Niners. But the Niners are playing well. I give Shanahan some crap sometime, but like they are playing really good football, and defensively they're really good. And Purdy looks like like he was taking higher than Trey Lance. So we'll see how that works out next year. We'll see. All right.
We do have receipts that we both had at Lawrence Fields as the top two, and then we didn't like the other quarterbacks in that draft last year. We have receipts.
Yes, we have receipts. Yeah, I just listen. I don't know what they were thinking about. I don't know why. I couldn't even imagine him. Just the arm strength alone, and just his ability to like the bootlegs that they like to run in San Francisco. I mean, he'd be deadly. He'd be deadly with that, and with Justin Fields, they'd be deadly. But hey, he luckily found Purdy. He luckily found Mr. Irrelevant to be his quarterback for the rest of the season. All right, Ray Nation. Take care. We'll see you next time. I think that's it. Also, yeah, I got a bunch of stuff coming for the student body right with everything that was the whirlwind of all the draft picks. Shout out to USC for the Snoop Dogg intros for all these freshman class players coming in. I want to watch up to those 20 million times. Those songs, gin and juice, all stuff like that gives you a lot of memories as far as my life goes. So those are great intros. So good job by social media by USC. All right, Ray Nation.
Definitely. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to all the listeners as well.
Yeah, I forgot about Christmas. Yeah, I think where I work, I definitely want to forget about Christmas. It's been crazy. So, all right, take care.
Take care.